Swadika. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the first webinar of Food Ingredients Asia 2020. I am Ms. Rungpet Chitanwat, or you can call me Rose. I'm Group Director for Informa Markets in ASEAN, handling the project of food ingredients and few of other projects. Today, I am very pleased to welcome you all to our webinar. That is our initiative to have the engagement with the audience through our digital SIP. Our webinar today will be focused on COVID-19 current and post effects on food and beverage industry in Indonesia. You may see we have our guest speaker. He is very honorable to accept our invitation to share the knowledge today. The focus will be learn how to prepare your business to seize the opportunities in this pandemic situation. So may I come to the panel that will get the Pak Adi Lukman. He is the chairman of the Food and Beverage Industry Association in Indonesia. Pak Adi Lukman here. Welcome, Pak Adi.
Thank you, Rose. Thank you, everybody, for attending this webinar organized by Informa Markets for Food Ingredients Asia. Thank you for inviting me to share about the Indonesian food and beverage industry and also effect of the coronavirus disease 19 before and after impact to the food and beverage industry in Indonesia. I would like to share with you for those situations in Indonesia currently and also post COVID-19. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, if we talk about the Indonesia, maybe mostly of you understand about Indonesia. Indonesia is the fourth biggest population in the world. Our government has a mission towards the fourth largest world economic in 2045. Why 2045? Because at that time, Indonesia will be 100 years old. Now our government have a planning to have a GDP per capita is around 23,000 US dollar. Current, our GDP per capita is around 4,000. So at that time, we will have around more than 319 million populations. And to fulfill the demand of those population, of course, we need the role of F&B industry. As you know, the expenditure per capita for food in Indonesia is around 50%. And processed food is contribute almost 17% of those expenditure. So that's why it's a huge opportunity for food industry in Indonesia. And food and beverage industry also contribute the total GDP is quite significant. We contribute around 36.5% to the GDP non-oil industry. And also our growth last year is noted is around 7.95%. That is much higher compared to the economic growth in Indonesia that is around 5.2% last year. This is the spatial value-added structure of F&B Indonesia by islands. If you know the Indonesia, we have several islands. The biggest island is the Java Islands, contributed around 52%, and then followed by Sumatra, Kalimantan, Sulawesi, and Maluku, and other islands. And if we talk about the investment realization in Indonesia, of course, every year is growing, but unfortunately, last year our growth is minus growth. for domestic is minus 6.4%. For the foreign direct investment is minus 2.7%. This is the challenging situation for FNB investment. And of course, after COVID also is more challenging to get more investor to Indonesia. This is the realization in the first quarter 2020. You can see the food and beverage industry still in the big five of the total investment in Indonesia. This is the domestic investment. For foreign direct investment is last year, this first quarter 2020 is noted around almost 300 million US dollar. That is a decline around 22%. If we talk about the export-import food products, including CPO, last year we noted around 27 billion US dollar. Unfortunately, still a little bit reduced from 2018. That is almost 13 billion US dollar. And for export non-oil sector, until March this year, 2020, we still increase even under the COVID-19 case. And also for the F&B sector, also still increasing around almost 12%. But we expect that after March, the export will decline due to the COVID-19. This is the data of the agriculture product. January, February still increasing. In total, we increased 43%, including horticulture, livestock, food crop, and plantations. And specific for processed and semi-processed food, we noted our export in 2020 is 1.8 billion US dollar. We still have a negative balance every year, but last year our negative balance is much better, only 22 million US dollar, reduced from the previous year. It's almost more than 1 billion US dollar. This is the data of export-import processed and semi-processed foods with several Asian countries and also RCEP. Now we enter the special condition because the pandemic of COVID-19. This is the data of Indonesia. The trend is still going up. We don't know when it ends because the many factors affect the transmissions. So we have to be careful. So that's why the government released some policy, ad hoc policy. The main policy is first is to maintain the buying power, of course, and then the second is request industry to continue operating, especially the strategic industry such as food, health industry, etc. And processed food product expected to support the food availability during the pandemic. And operating industry must implement the strict pandemic prevention protocol, including regulating workers to comply with the established procedure like a physical distancing, wearing masks, etc. For those policy, government released some regulation from the president decree until the ministry decree and also ministry circular. Especially for the industry, Ministry of Industry released a license to operate missions. It means that all the industry which industry who will continue the operation of the industry, they should have a license to operate and also must implement the strict protocol for prevention of COVID-19. And also BPOM, that is Indonesian FDA, also released a guideline for manufacturing and distributions for the emergency, for processed food in emergency health status of COVID-19 in Indonesia, including food sanitation, personal hygiene, physical distancing, distribution and retail good distribution practices, delivery services, sales facility for ready-to-eat food. You can download the handbook, the guideline from this link. And of course, because of those policy, that is physical distancing happened in Indonesia, and government, local government also released some, what we call it, the PSBB, the large scale social restriction. We don't implement the total lockdown. There are already 4 provinces and 22 districts that release the PSBB regulation. Of course, the impact is very big because the many psychological impact, like fear factors, many consumer worries, and most activities and tourism stop. And this is impact to the people's incomes that is suddenly drops or even stop, and potential for food insecurity and addition of poor populations, and also impact to the production and consumption disrupted. And but we still have a certain product category increasing during the work from home, like milk product, spices, cooking oil, flour, biscuit, and also nutritional food. And also online market is increasing significantly in percentage, even though the online market contribute a small percentage of market share percentage. And also some impact to the supply chain, including the fresh food, especially including export import in the global value chains because of the logistic matter. And how to manage the economic impact, not to distrust. We have to avoid also capital outflow, exchange rates pressure, cash flow risk, and also lack of working capital. So this is we work together with government and in hand to avoid this impact, and we have to manage it. And because of the COVID-19, based on the survey in our member last 2nd April, estimate percentage the sales will be declined in the next 2 months is around 38% of the members said will decline around 30 to 40%, and around 33% said will decline around 20 to 30%, and the other is around 10 to 20%. So we see that the sales decline occur after 3rd week of March, where actually at that month we are preparing the Ramadan month and also Eid al-Fitri. Actually, the sales of food products should increase sharply at that time. Unfortunately, because of the COVID, it's not happened. No festive at all, and the sales is predicted as a normal month. We still have an opportunity for some food category, still good sales like cooking oil, seasoning, milk and liquid milk, breakfast food, canned and fish and meat, instant noodle, dry food, biscuit, and functional and nutritious foods. There's still good sales in modern trade in the big city. But if we see the contribution channel of the FMCG product in Indonesia, the sales channels, the most is contributed by the general trade. What is a general trade? Is a traditional trade. More than 70% is contributed by general trade. The modern trade contribute around 26 to 27%. If the sales could occur in the modern trade, but in the general trade is reduce the sales, or this is in total we still have reducing in the sales in total because of the many outlets are closed during the restrictions. Demand is decreases, and people, especially the medium low income class, focus on purchasing basic and necessities product. This is just report to all of you about some opportunity during the COVID-19, which is the food delivery service and online order is increasing, and reported some is e-commerce F&B product is rising sharply during the COVID-19. And based on the survey, some survey done by McKinsey, FIA, Palette, Forbes, etc. Sorry, we can conclude that there will be some shifting in the patterns of life and businesses. First, of course, shifting in the sales channel, shifting in distribution channel, including those related to food safety and sanitary or hygiene, and shifting the way to market the product and services. Many online is maybe it will be opportunity and also the better from online market, and also changes in product handling system, and many consumers less dine in, more home eating. And the second shifting is the shifting in mindset of earning income and spending. Now the people's impacted because of the COVID and depend of the social class. They have a different character for earning the income and spending, and also will shifting the lifestyle. Their lifestyle will be shifting to different lifestyle after COVID-19. And the third shifting is the mindset of food safety and resources. Many consumers now more health concern, and eating more healthy food like nutritional, plant-based, functional food. And also packaging become the important element to extend the shelf life and food safety. And many consumers are looking for priority for fresh food, frozen food, packaged food for during the work from home. And also the consumer concern the origin of food. And the fourth shifting is, of course, brand loyalty, I think, because now the priority of concern of the consumer is food safety and hygiene. So this is the opportunity for newcomer, and of course the challenging for the existing brand in the market. So the food industry must be ready to adapt these changes. What is the impact to food trade and global value chain after COVID-19? We believe that the end will be end of the trade war after COVID-19, because now every country is some impact of the COVID-19, and we will enter a new normal of economic era. Based on the IMF prediction, in 2020 will be COVID-19 will trigger the global recession in 2020, and also trigger to the global financial crisis. And world economic output should recover in 2021. And based on the McKinsey report, the global slowdown in demand to improve and consumer confidence to recover when disease is perceived under control. And also retail margin, within margin, liquidity and working capital is constrained for the companies, especially for the SMEs, and cross-sector impact due to the logistic challenging. And governments have to give some stimulus strategy to postpone employee benefit payment, everything. And also the risk mitigations. And Indonesia itself focus on the three policies: maintaining the food security, that is availability, affordability, and nutritious foods, maintain the buying power, and also give some incentive package and grant to ensure efficiency in the production and supply chain. And of course, during those mitigation, the role of food industry in the value chain is very important. We have to keep the availability of the food product, affordability, and also consumption to foods for food safety, nutrition, and health, and others aspect. If we what to do to mitigate the impact of COVID on food trade and market, of course, we have to focus on combating the pandemic COVID-19. And we have to one policy in the government, both the central and local government. And also we have to one team for all stakeholders. And we have to make a one policy, one position, one vision to combating the COVID and mitigating the impact of the COVID-19. And also based on the government policy, industry must continue to run the economy to grow and create jobs. And in particular, food industry plays an important role in food availability, and also people's buying power, purchasing power must be maintained, and food demand must be fulfilled, including adequate, nutritious, and safe food, so that the productivity can be maintained, including the food supply chain must be kept running well. This is our last discussion with the Bogor Agriculture University. In the global and also in the global trade already happened in trade relation crisis due to the trade war, and also already health crisis due to the COVID-19, and petroleum crisis due to the falling oil price, and the last one is a global leadership crisis due to the excessive nationalisms. Many countries protect their industry because of the nationalisms, protectionisms. But the conclusion, we have to avoid food crisis in every country. This is very important. This is also suggested by the FAO, WHO, and WTO to avoid the food crisis and to smoothly food supply chain on all countries and all the world. Ladies and gentlemen, because of impact of the COVID-19, many countries negative growth in the economic, including Indonesia. Indonesia noted the first quarter 2020, we only grow 2.97%. Last year, our growth is 5%. And Q2Q to Q4 to 2019 to Q1 2020, we minus 2.4%. The same thing happened in all countries, but several countries like Korea, Vietnam is still noted better growth in economic growth. And Indonesia scenario from the Ministry of Finance, we predict our GDP will be range minus 0.4% to the best case is 2.3%. So that's why we have to prepare the worst case minus 0.4%, and also this will be impact to purchasing power, etc. And we have to mitigate the pandemic impact. Government release some and provide some support. Government give us some stimulus. We already have a third stimulus. The total is 405 trillion rupiah to support the business and also to support the community and also to support the SMEs. Government release some policy to support the SMEs through the capital, to support the capital, to support the SMEs for still exist. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, this will be, there are some impact to human behavior after COVID-19. Many people will paranoid, more health prevention, more cleaner, more hygiene attention, and lifestyle, of course, will be shifting also, less eating out, less traveling, and many virtual living, product handling, etc. And also will impact to business model. There is some shifting in business model. We have to anticipating the demand of staple food, and also for the medium high class, we have to prepare for the nutritious and healthier food. And of course, impact to the supply chain and food trade. Many people looking for the more hygiene channel, modern trade, online platform, etc. We still have some opportunity from the various changes, especially the food industry expected to recover the fastest. We believe in general, processed food products are expected to recover quickly because they are needed by the community as a basic needs. Moreover, There are some concern about the eating fresh food because of limited shelf life, logistical problem, and food safety problem. And we predict that staple food products are definitely needed in the first and foremost recovery. Then the food related to fulfill the nutrition and health product like a milk, cereal, functional food, etc. Likewise, the food for pleasure, especially for the upper middle class after waiting with the limit during the pandemic. So with this opportunity, our F&B industry in the first quarter 2020, we still can grow 3.9%. This is much lower compared to 7% last year. And we predict in the whole 2020 years, our projection will grow, F&B industry will grow around 4 to 5%. And fortunately, based on the McKinsey survey, we still have consumer optimism. The economy will rebound within 2-3 months and grow just as strongly or stronger than before COVID-19. That is 50% of the Indonesian consumers believe and still optimistic. So this is the good opportunity for F&B industry in Indonesia. And lastly, what we have to do for collaboration in harnessing the opportunity after COVID-19. Of course, everybody, every country now focusing in combating the COVID-19. And then we have to maintain the purchasing power of the people with the various government program and government policy. And also the government to support the business to survive with providing fiscal and non-fiscal incentive and relaxing the policies in process of economic recovery. And government business collaboration should be more strengthened to accelerate the recovery, and global collaboration in technology and innovations to accelerate the recovery process. The new product and the new ingredients to fulfill the new demand after COVID-19. Last but not least, supporting SMEs to be access in the recovery process and minimize the status gap. So I think we would like to recommend you to innovate your management and human capital after COVID-19 and innovate your product, innovate your market and your market channel, distribution channel, and innovate your way to meet the customer. This is very important. So we see you in the next Food Ingredients Asia in December. The one way to realize your innovations. Thank you very much for your attention. Stay safe and healthy.
Thank you very much, Pak Adi. Thank you very much. It's very useful information. So what I learned from today is physical distancing, not social distancing, right? It's implemented in Indonesia. Now time to the question session from the live, both in this Zoom and also the live in the YouTube and on the Facebook. So Pak Adi, that is the question about what are the general consumer mindset towards choosing the product nowadays in Indonesia?
Well, Rose, frankly speaking, Indonesia market, we have for the middle low class and then the medium high class. For the middle low class, of course, the affordability is the most priority for them. Even though some of them now already more concerned about the safety food, more concerned about the hygiene. And we can see now the many SMEs industry already implement the protocol to cover and to package the order with the proper package to deliver to the consumer. So that this is a good opportunity for people to do more concern about the hygienic. And for the medium high class, of course, the people's now, I believe that mostly them prefer to choose the nutritious food, to choose the safety food. This is the changing of the mindset of the consumers. More people, more concerned about the hygiene, more concerned about the resource of the food. In total, I think it's good also for us to be more healthy in the community, I think.
In conclusion, I would say the food safety, healthy, and hygiene will be the concern of the consumer. So I am very thankful you are mentioning about the food ingredient Asia, since there is a lot about the pandemic. What do you think about the food ingredients Asia that we postponed to December? And that time, I would say that vaccine cannot be available for sure, as the Indonesian and lead in the food and beverage market. Do you think we have any issue in doing the show during December?
Yes, our prediction from the government prediction is June. Our government prepared to easing the policy, some policy, and maybe some shopping mall or will open because of but still have to implement the strict protocol to avoid the pandemic COVID-19. And we planning our July, August already start recover our economic, and we do hope if everything smooth, maybe September, October already much better, and we do hope December is still okay for us to do the exhibition, Rose. And also government planning for December 10 is our election day for some district in Indonesia, December 10. So because maybe government already confidence that the COVID-19 can be managed well.
Yeah. As you mentioned about some of standard procedure by the government, of course, we in Informa Markets will follow those standard procedure to run the exhibition, control visitor density, and make sure that visitors feel comfortable on health and safety we implement. So there is a few questions from the live. We still have time. So I go to the question of Miss Yosika or Mr. Yosika. I apologize if I take it wrong. Yosika Yogiaman, he asks about what is your opinion on the future export import that will impact to China?
Okay, to China. Frankly speaking, I got some report from member that demand from China already starting. Some companies are looking for the new product, especially what I mentioned is a product that fulfill the demand of the consumer, that more concerned about the nutritious food and more healthier food. And this is some inquiry from China already sent by several companies to Indonesian companies. And now we are preparing the reformulation or also adjust the label, everything. And we believe when the China already getting better and normal conditions, I think the export will be better, I think. We do hope this.
Yeah,
and so that's why we need more food ingredients more, Rose. This is very important for us to explore more food ingredients to fulfill the inquiry, the new inquiry, the new shifting of the mindset of the consumer. I think this is.
So I think there are a lot of ingredient producers who join in this call because there is a lot of question on the effect on that. So the next question would be, they want to know by one of the attendees, not show the name, they are mentioning like, can you give more detail about the ingredients that customer will during will look for to be like alternative ingredients, or when the food safety is what you mentioned about, like what do you think the increase on what type of ingredients?
Okay, I think we have to understand about the Indonesian market first. Indonesian market, as I mentioned previously, we have a medium low class market and medium high class market. For the medium low class market, now some of them already aware about the food safety and hygiene, and also the many SMEs companies producing the frozen food currently, Rose. And they make like frozen food for meat frozen food, chicken frozen food, and they make some new product and freeze it. So that's why we need more ingredient for them. And also some report that plant-based product, plant-based protein now is I think it will be getting popular in Indonesia as well. Follow the global trend. Especially during the COVID, I got some information from my friend that now they eat more vegan, and this is I don't know. This is a new trend, like a new trend. They believe that plant-based is more healthy than animal-based. But this is just opinion from the several customers, several companies.
Yeah. So thank you for that answer. It is very clear. Everything moving toward health, safety, and of course, it's an opportunities for the new ingredient and even new innovation, and rely on the domestic supply as well, because it's easy on the logistics. So come to the next question by Mr. Kam Chun Chong. He asks about JIT. But it's like about just-in-time deliveries. They feel like, what do you think about food manufacturers will no longer believe in just-in-time delivery, meaning that they will probably like stock up more of the inventories of raw materials because they are afraid of like logistic disruption. What do you think about this?
Yes, because of the COVID-19, this is maybe the manufacturing will change the way to secure the raw material. Before, some big company already implement the just-in-time for the raw material and also for the product itself, the finished product. But after COVID-19 happened, some logistic supply chain is disrupted, and some delay of the raw materials, delay also for the delivery, the finished product to other countries because of the logistic problem. And because of this, I think several companies will change the policy to secure the raw material and also to secure the finished product. I think it's very dangerous because Indonesia still import a lot of raw materials, not only food ingredients, but also the main raw materials we still import. If we don't have any stock secure in our countries, it's become dangerous for the continuity of our productions. I think we'll shifting the way to secure the raw material, I think, Ross.
When you said that we have to have more raw material to make sure that we are like kind of self-sufficient. Yes. So that is a question that is very politically that I would ask on behalf of one of the attendees from, I think must be from Indonesia. What do you think about the Indonesia government put the investment plan to push through the self-sufficient concept?
Yes, it's my opinion. Yeah, this is my opinion. The important thing is trust. If government can manage the COVID-19 pandemic and also can manage the recovery process after COVID-19. And this will give a trust to the investor. And when the investor trusts to Indonesian policy, I think the investor will come again to Indonesia, because you know the opportunity for investment in Indonesia, especially F&B industry, is very huge. A huge opportunity, because we have as I mentioned, in 2045 we will have more than 319 million populations. It's very huge market, and also the demand for the food product is very huge. So that's why the government now try to build the trust to investor coming here. We hand in hand with government. And yesterday I just got a phone call from Australia, for example. There are several companies will looking for food industry in Indonesia. The investor, some investor, private equity investor, they're looking for the food industry in Indonesia. I think this is a good signal for us to do this.
Yeah, come to the very next question, refer to your presentation, that you have one presentation saying that during the work from home, there is a lot of demand on meal and things that you listed there. There is a question on that presentation, specifically when you said that there is a high demand. Is it any chance that it will run to the shortage, like on those categories?
Okay. The last month we got the information from the several milk industry, for example. They run 3 shifts a day and already full capacity, but the demand still increasing. So that's why this is a new opportunity, I think, for the milk industry. And of course, related to material for cooking at home, eating at home, like cooking oil, flour, some spices. And this is also the opportunity for the producer to produce more those products. This is some example of the report from our member. And other product like nutrition and functional food also increasing the demand increase. So this is also the good opportunity, I think, for during the COVID-19.
Yeah, and the question, I think it's from different audience, but it is really linked to the question before. They ask, like, from GAPMI perspective, what type of food category that get the most impact from COVID-19?
The negative impact, of course, the food not a staple food, like secondary food category, like, because now people focus, especially the medium low class, they focus on buying a staple food to fulfill their demand. This is the big market in Indonesia. Yeah, so that's why the secondary product category will got the impact after COVID-19 happens. For the nutrition food and also functional food, I think it's a good demand increasing, especially for the medium high class. So this is happening in Indonesia. I think this is the situation, Rose.
All right. So it is coming to like very close to the time. So we have another 3 questions. It's just a bing on my computer now. There is the question from Ranti and Dirani. She would like to know that how about the government policy? I think you already present in your presentation. If you may have a brief wrap up a bit, can you brief a bit on how is the government giving support and discuss with GAPI how to help the food industry?
Okay, government provide several support to business and also to the community, especially for the business community. Government support like income tax for company and also for the personnel. They give some postpone what we call it income tax for personnel, and also reduce the company's income tax. And also government provide some regulation to give for banking to give more capital for the companies for recovery, and also to postpone some payment to the bank, because during the COVID-19 some companies got a cash flow problem. So this, and also governments will provide another policy for insurance, what we call it, pension insurance. Maybe government in the next, I heard that the next week will release a new regulation to postpone the payment of the pension insurance from the and another support like government give some what we call it, relaxing the,
I heard you talk about SME something.
Yeah,
right.
For SMEs to provide the capital, working capital. That is the SME.
Yeah. What about this is the political question again. What about the permit, import permit for the producer from abroad?
Yeah.
Is it any relief a bit or still very strict?
Yes, government relaxing the policy of the import during the COVID, and especially for the raw material, and including the some facility to submit the documentation because some countries have a lockdown, and some countries cannot release the document. For example, the certificate of origin, for example, and Indonesian government give us some policy to submit the COO later after the product release from the custom. That is some relaxation of the import policy.
So it means that the government also provide the online service and relaxing
and also the
COO.
reduce the import duty.
Yeah, reduce import duty.
Reduce import duty for raw material.
Yeah. Okay, and I think we will come to the last question, Padi. It is if you may say to the food and beverage industry, both importer, exporter, and the supplier of ingredients, you want to say anything for them, like, because I heard you say, don't get panic. So do you have any words for the group of audience here on doing the business on this sector?
Yes, for all participants, I believe that Indonesian market is a huge, especially food and beverage industry is needed in Indonesia to provide the food product for food availability, food security, and this many opportunity to invest in Indonesia and also explore the natural resources of Indonesia. But of course, have to combine with several ingredients from other countries, because now we are already in the global value chain. We need not only material from Indonesia, but also we need raw material and also ingredients for other country, from other country. And we believe that we still can increase our export capacity to global value chain. So this is the very optimistic mind, and this is an opportunity for collaborations among of us. I think this is my opinion, Rose.
Yeah, thank you, Pak Adi. That is very positive. And the last one, I would like to invite you on behalf of the chairman of GAPME. Do you want to share anything what GAPME are going to do for the industry?
Okay, thank you, Rose. I'm chairman of the Indonesian Food and Beverage Industry Association in Indonesia. Of course, we do for our member to communicate with the governments, to advocacy from the government policy to our member as well. And fortunately, government always involve our association to discuss about the draft of the regulation before they release it, and also we can discuss with government to solve some problems, especially for our members. And this is fortunately also we have a good relation with the government, so this is a big opportunity for our association to hand in hand collaboration with government to improve our industry, to develop our industry for the Indonesian market and also for export market, as well as for the global value chains. And our association already established in 1976, and actually this year is my last turn to be the chairman of the GAPME, and because I already second turn of the chairman, but we believe that our association is already established. We have several committees in our associations, and we can work together with government and also for the member. Thank you very much, Rose.
Thank you very much, Pak Adi. To the audience here, I think you get very useful information from the Indonesian, the real expert, Pak Adi Lukman, that joining us today. I hope you enjoy his presentation. And I have got a lot of questions that coming from live and through the Zoom chat and question. I will pass this additional question to Pak Adi and he may answer directly to you. For those who are looking for the presentation of Pak Adi, it is available on the Food Ingredient Asia website. And definitely if you can visit the website, you can get the whole presentation. And with Food Ingredients Asia, as we mentioned, we are going to come back to Indonesia in December. So the period has been postponed from September to December 9 to 11 at JI Expo. Please stay tuned with us, and we're gonna have the next episode too from Food Ingredients Asia team in Informa Market on the topic of new normal, understanding consumer and proactive strategy for COVID-19 situation. Today, my name is Rose, so I would like to thank you and apologize for all the technical issues you may face during this talk. And thank you very much and stay safe. Thank you, Pak Adi and the audience.
Thank you, Rose. Thank you all participants. Thank you, Informa Market.